back at the PPM conference. Daniel Streek, joined by Julie Davis today from Agent Dynamics.
Yeah, thank you.
We are going to hear about how business owners across the real estate industry, and in particular property management, can focus on their recruitment and their retention and some real key ways to make sure that's a success in your business. So Julie, tell us about some of those points that you really feel are so important for business owners when it comes to building a team, recruiting for success.
Yeah, thanks, Daniel. I think, as an industry, we're, in terms of team turnover, second only to hospitality. I think, particularly at the moment, where the feedback that I'm getting in the marketplace is how difficult and challenging it is to get great team members.
Find the right person to fit. And is it a different skill set than it was, do you think, for property management in days gone by?
Absolutely. And I think, and I guess the area that I specialise in is having the right people in the right roles. Okay, it's absolutely critical because when we look at it from the point of view of a business owner, the actual real cost of team fatality or losing a team member or having somebody exit is 1.5 times their annual salary.
And the time lost, and that's all adds up.
And culturally as well.
Yeah.
And so I guess, the really clear message that I like to talk about is, let's be strategic in terms of who we're putting in what roles. Now, if we have a look in terms of the recruitment process, typically we look at resumes and references. And what we're looking at is the skill level of that person.
On paper, that's
correct. It's an interesting thing.
Yeah.
And interesting in that, when I'm working with clients, I think one of the most critical things when we are looking at somebody's skill is actually skills test them.
Yeah.
Okay, so when we're looking at, what are the applications they're going to be using within that, or software they're going to be using, that they have perhaps exaggerated a little bit, because we know that, resumes are a really good work of fiction.
Yeah.
Particularly now with ChatGPT, right?
Quite easy to spin something up.
And so part of that, I think there's 3 really critical elements when you're recruiting.
Yeah.
First thing is character of the person. And so the lived values and the clear values within your organisation, which is your value proposition to the market of what is your attractant and why somebody would come and work with you. Okay. Right? So it's the values that are lived within your organisation. If you don't have them, you need to have them and be clear on them, because people will show up at work for way more than money.
Yes, very true.
Right? And if we're not valued aligned within an organisation, you have all sorts of cultural problems. So that's the first thing, is alignment of the character and the person, and do your research in terms of, let's have a look at their digital footprint. Who do we know that knows someone? Ask some really good questions of where are they spending their time and their money, right? Which will give you a good correct. That will give you a really good indication in terms of values. The second thing that we look at, in which is where we use our platform, is what is the natural attunement or the ability for that person to have sustainability in that job based on where they can maximise their contribution and natural talent.
Yeah. And that's going to feel success for them as well, isn't it? If they're aligned, and sometimes they won't even know, will they?
Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. And there's predictability in the behaviour. And when I work with clients and go, yes, we can indicate to you what's that person going to show up as if they're fully matured on a good day, but what are they like on a bad day, right?
We all have those days too, don't we?
It's absolutely uncanny to me that I will talk to business owners and they can tell me the problem they're having within their team, and I can align that to a profile.
Yeah, that's right.
And
I've been through the testing, and I found it very valuable, just at really identifying those key areas, your strengths, and perhaps where you have those challenges or weaknesses.
Yeah.
And it's just being aware, isn't it? And then it can help to find that best fit within the business. Correct. That's going to ensure the whole team can lift together.
And of course the skills testing. Now, by skill, anyone can do anything, any profile can do anything, right? But people are naturally attuned to be drawn to a certain thing. Yeah. And, I always when I'm doing my team sessions, I, go by a show of hands, tell me about a job that you've done, or have you done a job? You could do that job really, really well, however it was not fulfilling. And I would say 100% of the time, everyone has had that experience, right? We move on. It's what I call, full pockets, empty heart. And as humans, we need that self-actualization, right? In terms of how we show up and
The
how we
money's one
contribute.
component, isn't it? But yeah, that feeling of
People
success,
don't
fulfillment.
leave businesses for money. They leave businesses because of leadership culture, stress and burnout.
Yeah. And it's been such a huge issue in property management, and I think that the sort of the extra pressure, workload of COVID that put on staff and those sort of things. But as we come out the other side of that now, what are you seeing? Are business owners taking this a lot more seriously and making sure that they are?
We've seen considerable changes in our industry in the last couple of years. And I think early days there was a lot of good that came out of it, because it was really an awakening in terms of people really looking at the quality of their life. But it seems to me that we're back on that hamster wheel.
Okay.
Right? We're back in that whole state of busyness, of being reactional.
Yes.
And I think the key thing in terms of the clients I work with is, if you get the right people in the right roles, their efficiency, effectiveness, and ability to do things quickly is greatly increased.
The momentum, like I know as a salesperson, getting on that momentum, and you just feel unstoppable. Same within any business. If you've got a lot of synergy there, everything working together well, you're able to really just rise to another level. So that's exciting.
So over the past 12 months, we've been working on our new platform, which is called Love Your Business.
Yes.
And because there's so many business owners that have fallen out of love with their business,
True.
right? We had a pathway, but there was still, for me, a big piece missing, which is how do we deeply, when I work with clients and we've profiled the team, we've spoken with the team, the business owner, we've looked at talent gaps, we looked at future recruitment strategies within that business as well. We've talked about performance management. But what was actually missing was that whole pathway of that deep integration. Because if we look at profiling, and people talk about personality profiling and you're this profile or that, it's a really shallow conversation. The contribution compass tool that we use is such a deep and meaningful instrument in terms of that. Is so instrumental in terms of managing your team, getting what are the drivers, how do we reward people, how do we know what is going to be their key drivers, what's motivating for them.
For them. And when you said, a lot of that planning and structuring with that business owner, do you talk about exit strategies? Like when you said falling out of love with the business, a lot of them get to that point of almost driving their business into the ground and then just walking away.
Absolutely.
Do you spend time around that to help
we
guide
do
them?
in terms of strategically. And within the Love Your Business, we do masterclasses every month, but there's all of the tools. It's all how do you onboard your team. And at this conference, as a matter of fact, in a room full of probably 100 people, there were 9 people who put their hand up who actually have a clear onboarding process for their team. Because what we want to do is we want to set people up for success, right? And we talk about recruitment, but retention, and if I put that in terms of property management, it's far cheaper and more economical to retain a management to go and get a new one. So how do we make sure that we have a pathway of success set up for our people? How do we know what their drivers are? And by integrating contribution compass and understanding with the people and deeply understanding them within your team, helps you as a business owner. So we're giving you all of the tools, strategies, techniques, and support within there.
Around, just getting that structure.
It's just crazy. It's just crazy.
And it can take some time, but I think that it far outweighs the benefits far outweigh the time that you would stop and spend to do this in your business. One thing as well you said there about this setting people up for success and the onboarding journey. We've heard a lot from some other contributors as well around the onboarding journey of both tenants and landlords to make sure they're all feeling that experience and that love and retaining business. So I think some amazing tips there from Julie, and every business owner should be taking that time to really stop and understand, love their business, as you say, and fall back in love with their business if you are falling out of love. So stay tuned for more. I'm Daniel Streek with Realty Uncut today here at the PPM conference.